2025, to be very clear, on all 5 House special elections, Democratic candidates overperformed the party's 2024 margins. So what Democrats are saying, they are buoyed by this success that the voters are responding to their message. I think they're also responding to Trump and the Republicans' message, which is basically, we don't give a you-know-what. It's a family show. So I understand. I think it is good news that there's so much energy out there that the Democrats think that they can expand the map here, and that's what they're doing.
Well, and of course, and look at what Donald Trump has given them this past week. There's been a lot of bad news, but it's been the worst week for Donald Trump. And instead of reading the room, and I don't just mean the judiciary and the Supreme Court, instead of reading the room, Americans saying, please stop taxing me to death, he says, no. You took away my tariffs. You took away my taxes. I will tax you more. I will tax you harder. The guy is digging his own political grave here by making it a real bad midterm election. And I had a conversation with a friend of the show, Paul Begala, who, you know, Paul's forecast a lot of elections before.
Paul knows. He's been around the block a couple times.
He knows. And we were having a chat, and he said, you know what? This could be one of the biggest waves we've seen. He's like, I don't say that to get people hyped up, but you look at the fundamentals. The fundamentals being you have a president who is so directly saying, not only am I owning these tariffs and taxes, I am increasing them on you. Rarely have Democrats had such a great ability to directly tie a president to the economic harm people are seeing. Donald Trump is giving them that on a silver platter.
Right. And Michael Steele, there's always a question of how that silver platter is used to serve. I know you were hoping to see some theatrics out of this State of the Union. I regret to inform you that that is not what Democrats have planned. Let's pull this up from the Hill.
Be still my heart, Alicia.
A year ago, many lawmakers held signs accusing Trump of lying. Others walked out mid-speech, and Representative Al Green of Texas made
prices back to where they were before these tariffs got into effect.
You're absolutely right. The rebate should go directly to the American people. They should look at the illegal tariff that Donald Trump imposed. He basically
because that's the tax on.
That's tax on working families.
There you go.
Tax on the middle class. He basically took money from them in a way that was unconstitutional. They should look at that money and they should give it back as a refund to working and middle class Americans. If they give it just to the companies, look, the importers may have reduced the price to factor in the tariff. So those companies may not have actually been penalized.
Right.
The penalty was paid by the consumers here. And the reality here, though, is Donald Trump's created a mess. He has imposed a tax on ordinary working class Americans. And then now he's doing 15% on our allies. And the person he's giving the deal to, China. I mean, it is a totally irrational foreign policy.
Congressman, speaking of creating a mess, there are a number of your Democratic colleagues who've been targeted by this administration. I'm thinking specifically of Senators Slotkin, Kelly, Representatives DeLuzio, Houlihan, Goodlander, and Crow. And tonight, the breaking news as we came on air, it looks like Jeanine Pirro is shelving that pursuit of Democrats over the video in which they tell troops to ignore unlawful orders. One, do you consider this a win for democracy? And two, if Democrats have subpoena power back as we head into next year, are you going to want to hear from Jeanine Pirro?
Absolutely. Well, one, I think Senator Mark Kelly and all of the 6 individuals have shown great courage. They did not cower. They stood up for their First Amendment rights. They said that what they were telling the troops was what the law is. No one is supposed to follow an unconstitutional order. We swear an oath to the Constitution. And what you see now is Donald Trump cracking. After the Epstein matter, after the ICE abuse, you have Republicans willing to stand up to him. You have the Supreme Court willing to stand up to him. His numbers are under 40%. I think people are finally realizing there's going to be life after Donald Trump, and they may want to actually stand up to this president.
We will be watching this story about the tariffs, and I'm sure we're going to hear about it tomorrow at the State of the Union from the president. I'm definitely watching for what he's going to say. I'm also watching for what happens as it relates to how the Epstein files and the survivors enter this conversation. What the president says or doesn't say. Robert Garcia, who is the ranking member of House Oversight, said that Dems will be telling Epstein survivors stories inside and outside of the Capitol for the State of the Union. Let's take a listen to a little bit of what he had to say.
There's going to be some Democrats who are going to go to the State of the Union. There are others who are going to go to the mall, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to have solidarity of actually both camps. The most important piece of this.
So meanwhile, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, which is looking, of course, to take advantage of these poor Republican poll numbers, has announced the first 12 candidates in its program supporting contenders, hoping to flip key GOP-held districts ahead of this year's midterm elections. The so-called Red to Blue program gives additional resources to Democrats running in competitive battleground districts. Candidates include Marine Corps veteran Joanna Mendoza in Arizona, former Iowa State Representative Christina Bohannon, and more. Joining us now, the co-chair of recruitment for the DCCC, Democratic Congressman Jason Crow of Colorado. He is a member of the Armed Services and Intelligence Committees and a combat veteran. Congressman, good morning. Thank you for joining us. You, of course, do not come from a red state, although it wasn't all that long ago that Colorado was a true battleground. But it does seem like that your resume is something of a template, perhaps, for some of these candidates you and the committee are trying to put forth and support in these red districts. So tell us more about that effort. Who are you looking for?
Well, I grew up in a red community. I grew up in a working class community. I worked construction growing up to help pay my way through college. I flipped a seat in 2018 that had never been held by a Democrat. And of course, I served this country working with people from all around the nation. Every different economic background, every race, every ethnicity. I brought those folks together and served and fought. And that's what we need to do. Right? Ultimately, we need to reform not just the Democratic Party, but we need to rebuild a coalition that can win in places that we haven't won in a long time. I mean, this is not hard stuff to think about, right? Like, it's not, the math is not hard, I guess is my point, right? We know we're not winning where we need to win. And unless we start winning in areas that have turned their back on us because we have not delivered for them, we're going to continue in this cycle. So that is the cycle we're looking to break. I've been scouring the country the last year, finding these candidates, talking to them, mentoring them, and it is go time.
Congressman, it's Sam Stein here. I'm going to try to shoehorn two very distinct topics into one actual question. You were part of the 6 lawmakers that have been targeted by Donald Trump for warning or telling members of the military they don't have to follow unlawful orders. Your lawyer wrote a letter to Jeanine Pirro asking her to preserve records about this. One question is, I'm wondering if there's been any developments on that front. And the second semi-related question is this. There's always this debate within the Democratic Party about how much to focus on kitchen table issues versus how much to focus on Trump and his antics and theatrics and the accusations of lawlessness. You're at the tip of the spear of that latter part. I'm wondering how much this is going to be centralized in the campaign for Democrats writ large.
Yeah, we haven't heard back from DOJ or Pam Bondi, nor do I imagine we will. They're coming at me and Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin, not because of the video, but because of what we represent. The fight we're bringing, that we're going on the offense against them, we're showing strength. We are trying to pierce the veneer of power that is so important to Donald Trump and all around them. Let's not forget that they're trying to extract more power from the American people than they really have. They're trying to dominate. They're trying to suppress. And we simply are not going to allow that to happen. You know, and this false choice that sometimes people set up between, you know, do we legislate, do we do oversight? The United States Congress exists to do both. The Constitution gave us both powers of oversight and accountability and legislating. So this actually isn't a choice. It's our duty to do both. Nor can we heal as a country if we don't go after those who are turning their back on the Constitution, those who are violating the law, murdering citizens in our street. That accountability must happen. And at the same time, we have the ability and the duty to make sure we're lowering costs, addressing the housing crisis in America, and reining in the military adventurism of this administration. Let's not forget that he campaigned on ending the endless wars that I fought in, that millions of Americans fought in. And this guy doesn't see a problem that he doesn't think he can bomb his way out of.
Congressman, on the idea of military adventurism, we wanted to get your take on this story now.
One thing we saw during Trump's first term, from 2017 to 2021, is that when he went down politically, he didn't go down alone. Before he lost in 2020, a lot of people fell with him, and some even fell before him. Think about all the people who ended up in legal trouble because of their connection to him. Lawyers, staff members, close allies. Some went to jail. Others needed pardons or might have gone to jail without them. And even after Trump left office, the fallout continued. Kevin McCarthy, for example, lost his position as a direct result of the MAGA wing turning against him. Now, what we are seeing could be the end for Mike Johnson, and it is likely to happen one way or another. There are really three possible paths. First, MAGA turns on him. That movement always needs someone to blame, and they can't openly blame Trump, so someone else has to become the scapegoat. Johnson is an easy target. Second, moderates could decide he's the problem and remove him to protect their own seats. In that case, he is sacrificed by the center instead of the right. But the biggest issue is that Trump either doesn't understand or refuses to accept that the country may be moving past him. The polling suggests it. Public opinion suggests it. And when Trump loses politically, he's not the first to pay the price. He can't run again, and the future laws would technically fail on someone like J.D. Vance or whoever carries the torch in 2028. The immediate political casualty would be Mike Johnson, whether it happens in November or even sooner. If current polling holds, Republicans are almost certain to lose the House. There is really no realistic path for them to keep it. The Senate is more complicated. That would be a tougher flip for Democrats. If Democrats manage to take the Senate too, it would be a huge night for them. But the House, by these trends, is already slipping away.